Wednesday night, that's why Thursday I go to Ithaca. This Saturday, we're flying back out and we're taking, just going for 2 days to meet some contractors and whatever. Then we're taking a 5-day trip through Utah and then we're playing golf and going to Tetons and whatever, we're driving back here. We shipped our car out.
You're driving yourself?
Yeah, well, we're bringing our nephew back with the doctor. So the three of us and the dog. So we're gonna take one.
It's great that you're enjoying yourself. Good for you.
Okay, we're ready? Good morning. Good morning. Hello. It's, 9th, Monday morning, 11:10. I'd like to call the Sullivan County IDA meeting to order. Roll call will be by Jen,
Yeah, Mr. Siegel,
present.
Ms. Lahara,
Present.
Mr. Malone.
Yeah.
Mr. Smith is absent, Mr. Gunther is absent, Mr. Brooks is absent, Mr. Steingart,
Present.
Mr. Perrello.
Yeah.
Great. Appreciate everybody coming. I need an approval of the meeting minutes of May 12th, if everybody had a chance to look at them.
Second.
Okay, Bill and Kathleen. We have bills and communication,
All in
all
favor?
approved. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, carried. Bills and communications, we have some additions to what we went out previously.
Yeah, so I passed out a revised schedule of payments. In the first part, there's a extra bill to Walter. So his total is $3,512.50. Altogether, we have 11 payments in amount of $17,981.11. Down at the middle section, New York Delaware One, they paid us their special district tax bill, so we are giving their money back so they can pay it to the counties. And then down at the last section is just the extra for employee health insurance reimbursements.
Thank you, Bethany. I need a motion to approve. Motion. Joey, second. Bill, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so that's carried. The staff report, Jen, what are you thinking?
I have just a couple of additions for your information. First, the van that we had previously leased to Catskill Brewery, and we terminated that lease at their request and made a bunch of repairs. We have sold that van, so we no longer own it. I have notified USDA, which was the original source of the funding, and I expect that they will require us to pay back the sale proceeds, but they need to just tell me that. So just for your information, we don't have that. That was kind of a burden, so, and I appreciate everyone's help in disposing of that van. Second, back in 2023, we got a rural business development grant from USDA to purchase equipment, kitchen equipment for the food hub. Purchased all the equipment, the lease is executed, the kitchen is up and running with that equipment, and I requested that reimbursement, so we should have that. It's about $95,000 reimbursed as soon as USDA gets around to that. Third, the revolving loan committee approved a $75,000 RLF loan to Spinning Plates LLC, which is the entity that owns the walk-in up in Livingston Manor. So that loan is for them to expand, add about 40 seats to their dining room. So purchase some new kitchen equipment. So the closing documents are all drawn up. We're just waiting, I think, for the borrower to sign the commitment letter, and then we hope to close this month on that loan.
That's it?
So all
Great.
that.
I want to do, before we get into new business, we have a few resolutions, but I'd like to comment on how effective and efficient our staff is in self-monitoring, et cetera. We had pilot payments go out last week, and Jen went through them, and they're all paper. Typically, we get checks in for them, and then they distribute it. Jen and Julio, I think, or just Jen, noticed that there were 3 missing, and it was really because they were electronic payments. Now that everybody's wiring, there wasn't a process in place to monitor and check that. And so those quote unquote for a day or two slipped through the cracks, but she picked it up and then put it in a new process in effect. So self-monitoring is the best without somebody coming to us, where's our payment or whatever. The fact that you spotted that, because it is a new thing. No, not a lot of people. So certain banks won't even do wiring on occasion. I mean, people don't, very uncomfortable. So kudos to your team. We have new business. So the discussion and approval, we need to appoint Kathleen as board secretary. So we want to discuss that or just make a motion.
I'll make a motion. Second.
All right, Bill and Joey, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Welcome aboard, Captain. Tee. Let's be careful what you wish for.
Amen.
So our first resolution is authorizing the agency to provide funding, our typical funding to the Partnership for Economic Development. We do that second quarter. Joey moved it.
Second.
Kathleen seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, carried. Our second resolution is again Morgan Crawford Realty, which is the ski hill. And what actually is, what are we amending that resolution for?
So this last month, the board adopted a resolution to amend the project documents to include the day camp in the project description. Mike Taylor came and talked about it. There was just due to an error in the original resolution. All of the requested elements of the day camp were not carried over from the request to the resolution. So all this resolution does is just amend the prior resolution so that we correctly reflect all the elements of the day camp that were requested to be added to the project scope.
So Iris just
I'll make a
made that motion and Joey seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so that's carried. Lastly, our last resolution is extending sales tax abatement period for Monticello Industrial Park from July 1 through December 31st. That's down by the dump, right?
Yeah, this is the development of roadways and infrastructure, not vertical construction, but roadways and infrastructure on what was the landfill expansion parcel. So that's been ongoing.
Is that the ice company?
Yes.
They haven't done nothing yet though, have they?
They've invested money in the land, but there's still, I don't know the status of the Village of Monticello and the water situation, but they've been working hard on trying to get, yeah. to get
I
water
guess it's
back.
tough to have an ice company without water. In the middle of the desert.
That's for sure.
So I need a motion, because they can only,
I'll
they're
make
gonna
one.
get the abatement if they spend the money, right?
Right.
It's not, we're not giving
Yeah.
them anything. I will make that motion.
I'll second it.
Kathleen will second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we now have, do we have anybody that came in on from the outside world? So we do not have any public comment.
Can I just, I brought this up a couple of times and you mentioned vertical, housing. We have a real need in Sullivan County for apartment buildings. I mean, something that goes up vertical. I know that we gotta put a program together to try to invite builders to come to Sullivan County to build. Whether it's the tax is gonna kill them, you know that, so something with taxes, sales tax, abatements, something to get housing. We need to entice somebody to come here and build. I mean, it's gotta happen.
We've had two apartment buildings approved on Thompson Planning Board, both of which failed because of infrastructure. There's no water, there's no sewer.
In Monticello.
In
Which has
Tom- well,
nothing
out
to-
in town of Thompson, but.
Which has nothing to do with abatements or not.
No, but meaning like that's part of the problem is if there's no infrastructure, it's tough to, and again, everybody's relying on the village.
What were they
And there's a
building?
question about, the village says there's no water, but then you hear there's plenty of water. It's
What were they trying to build?
apartment buildings.
Going up?
Mhm.
What's
So,
being built above that, Regency Manor? What is that? Across the street from Regency Manager, going into Monticello, behind Tilly's, let's say. In
yeah,
that neighborhood, there's some kind of vertical housing, isn't there?
that's village.
That's the village?
There's actually a giant development in there. I'm so sorry, Phil. I don't mean to, I know that.
Is that a development consistent to the growth in Fallsburg, or is that a new development for working class housing?
Consistent with Fallsburg.
Okay.
There's a pro-housing group in the town of Rockland, that I'm participating in. And in trying to get some energy behind the conversion of, the original school in, Livingston Manor, which was Randy Smith's well drilling, warehouse. And that's all fresh and hot off the press, but that would be apartments.
Right. It'll be like a co-op type.
Right, so there's town water, town sewer. So hopefully there'll be some energy behind that, but, tax breaks of sorts.
Yeah.
Can certainly help grease the.
So, I mean, we need our counsel here for this to answer this next question, but is it possible that we can assist, have we ever thought about assisting in bonding that development for a town or a village? In other words, where we facilitated bonding so they can do the infrastructure necessary to
You talking about like Louis Marie?
Well, I'm not talking about that. I know we're trying to do that, but that's different. But I'm saying going to the village of Monticello and they need X amount of dollars to expand that system, dig and move it out to somewhere
I don't
else.
think
or in the town.
municipalities would really benefit from that because our rates, but you know, every town and county has.
Yeah, but we're not gonna be able to build vertical housing without that.
Well,
that's
on a
what I'm
private sector.
saying.
Oh, in a private sector, okay.
What the municipalities need to do, and this is time it's just opening up. They need to go through the CFA process and try to get money through the state and the bonds. I know Waldberg has the same issue. There's no building and whatever people are in front of the planning board are being told, if you're proceeding, it's at your own risk because we have no water and sewer. You're talking about they need to invest about $120 million to get their water and sewer. The lines are so old, they're breaking as soon as you have even if they have the water, which last year during the summer, they had to truck in water. As soon as they put in the pressure up, the pipes break. So
There was a lot of forethought to that in Fallsburg. I gave him a lot of credit, even though there was a lot of controversy around the Ingers in doing that. I think the thought process back then was really phenomenal. I would proceed, Lake Louise Marie, I'm in favor of very cautiously. Don't, I know you have some constituents, I would just.
Well, you call me, I just let it check.
Right, I wouldn't, because there's infrastructure issues with the boards and thought process, so I just don't want you to get.
Okay.
That was very diplomatic. I like the way you said that.
But to Joey's point, any energy behind, affordable housing. Gotta be in a townhouse or apartment kind of.
Yes.
scenario. These standalone houses trying to,
No, you can't. I mean, listen,
can't do it.
we're not gonna be able to keep the young people here. If there's no housing, my granddaughter went on her own for a while,
Everybody's
and I got it back now.
Right.
She
Yeah,
can't
so you-
afford $1,400 a month for a 2-bedroom.
Right, and
But-
that's.
but you
down
can't
from
build.
2,000. What?
You can't build and have an apartment for 1,400, you
Well,
can't, it costs you
studios.
more, you'll lose money.
Right,
That's the problem.
yeah, exactly. Well, let's dig into it, because it's been ongoing discussion and Joey's not gonna let it go, and so we need to dig into it to the positive.
Yeah, and the legislature, I think, sent a letter in at one time saying that we're looking for a
Well,
program.
they're supportive, yeah, they're supportive. of
There's
it, but-
support behind it.
And staff did meet with them, some of the legislators. And we asked them, give us a proposal of what you'd like us to do. And we've still, to this day, have not gotten an answer on what they would like to see as a.
Yeah, but so the issue, and where I kind of get hung up on, and I appreciate and understand that, is it's not their problem, it's their request. And so I don't want it to be that it dies because they haven't pushed us. It's their request, it should be our discussion, and then it should be our pulling, not saying, well, you didn't do anything, so we're not doing anything. I just don't run my business that way. Okay,
We have concerns, we've been trying to figure out what we can do. And to be quite frank, we haven't come up with something that would work.
yeah, and you have a group similar to Lake
Let's make one.
Marie that I'm
That
explaining to
works.
Joey
Yeah.
that, you have to have like minds. We get stuff done here, we have like minds. Not a lot of these boards have like minds. So much energy is just because you said it. So you have to call him to tell him to say it, so that it could go forward on that issue, because it's not the issue. So let's dig into that. I'd like a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second, all in favor? Are we done?